If you've ever felt her pulling away while somehow staying close, this is going to hit a nerve because the most dangerous feelings are the ones she never admits, not even to herself. In my work as a psychologist, I've watched countless men misread this moment, walk away too early or chase too hard and lose everything without ever knowing why. Before we go any deeper, take a second and subscribe to this channel and like this video because what you're about to hear isn't dating advice, it's awareness, and awareness changes outcomes. When a woman is hiding deep feelings, the first thing she does is control exposure, not distance exposure. She limits how often she sees you, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much. Emotional intensity scares her nervous system. Every interaction feels like a risk, so she schedules less, responds slower, keeps conversations safe. Men often assume this means low interest. Psychologically, it means high emotional stakes. You don't regulate what you don't value. You'll also notice a strange contradiction in her attention. She remembers details you forgot you ever shared, yet avoids conversations about where this is going. That's not confusion, that's self-protection. Her mind is tracking you constantly, but her mouth is guarded. Women suppress feelings by intellectualizing them. She'll ask about your goals, your stress, your routines, neutral territory, because emotions feel uncontrollable. Another subtle behavior is her timing. She appears right when you pull back. When you stop initiating, she checks in. When you get busy, she suddenly becomes warm. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional calibration. She's testing safety without exposing vulnerability. She wants closeness without the risk of rejection. Watch how she behaves around other women. If she becomes quieter, slightly guarded, or overly casual about you, that's internal conflict. She doesn't want to claim you, but she doesn't want to lose you either. Silence here is not indifference, it's restraint. Finally, notice her humor. Women hiding feelings often use light teasing or irony to mask emotional investment. If she jokes about things that clearly matter, she's deflecting intensity. Humor becomes armor. If you've felt this energy before, the push, the pause, the unspoken pull, understand this. Absence of expression is not absence of emotion. Sometimes it's the opposite, and the men who learn to read restraint instead of chasing reassurance are the ones who change the dynamic without saying a word. One of the most misunderstood signals a woman gives when she's hiding deep feelings is emotional mirroring without commitment. She starts reflecting your values, your tone, even your emotional rhythms, but avoids defining anything. This isn't coincidence. It's bonding without exposure. Her subconscious is aligning with you while her conscious mind stays guarded. Men often miss this because they're listening for words, not patterns. You'll notice she adopts phrases you use, references your ideas, or shows sudden interest in things that matter deeply to you. Not performative interest, quiet interest. She might read something you mentioned weeks ago, or remember how you take your coffee. This is emotional proximity. She's bringing you into her internal world while pretending nothing significant is happening. That contradiction creates tension she doesn't know how to resolve. Another behavior is delayed honesty. She tells you personal truths, but only after time has passed, and usually casually. Something heavy slips out mid-conversation, as if it's nothing. That's intentional minimization. She's testing whether vulnerability with you is safe without making it an event. If you respond calmly, without pushing, her trust deepens. If you react intensely, she retreats. Her feelings are there, but fragile. Pay attention to how she reacts to your emotional availability. When you open up, she listens intently, but rarely reciprocates in the moment. Later, she references what you shared with care. This tells you something critical. She processes emotions privately. She doesn't want to be overwhelmed by the intensity of mutual disclosure, so she staggers it. Men often misinterpret this as emotional unavailability. In reality, it's emotional containment. She may also create scenarios that keep you emotionally close but physically or situationally distant. Long conversations late at night, deep talks during transitions, moments that feel intimate but temporary. This allows connection without consequence. She gets closeness without committing to the reality of it. It's safer that way. There's also a subtle guilt pattern. She apologizes for small things that don't matter, being late by minutes, missing a message. These apologies aren't about the action. They're about internal conflict. She feels more than she's allowing herself to express, and guilt leaks out sideways. Understand this. When a woman is hiding feelings, her behavior becomes layered. Nothing is random. Nothing is simple. The men who lose her are usually the ones who force clarity too early or withdraw completely. The men who keep her attention are the ones who remain emotionally grounded, observant, and unreactive. If you can sit calmly in the ambiguity without demanding reassurance, you become the safest place her feelings can land. And safety, not pressure, is what allows hidden emotions to surface. Another behavior that reveals hidden feelings is how she manages control when emotions rise. When a woman feels deeply but refuses to admit it, she doesn't lose control. She tightens it. Conversations become more structured. She chooses topics carefully. She may suddenly become busy, not because she is, but because emotional availability feels dangerous. This isn't disinterest, it's emotional containment. She's trying to keep herself from slipping. Watch how she responds to compliments. If she deflects praise or turns it into a joke, that's not low self-esteem. That's fear of reinforcement. Compliments make feelings real. They turn internal tension into something she has to face. So she shrugs it off, minimizes it, or changes the subject, even though it clearly affects her. The smile lingers longer than it should. The silence stretches. That's emotion trying to surface. You'll also notice inconsistency in her boundaries. Some days she's open, warm, almost intimate. Other days she's distant and formal. Men often think this means emotional instability or mixed signals. Psychologically, it's regulation. She's letting herself feel in controlled doses. When it gets too intense, she pulls back to regain equilibrium. The mistake men make is reacting to the pullback instead of understanding it. Another subtle sign is how she handles your absence. When you're not around, she checks in directly. Likes, reactions, casual questions masked as logistics. Did you ever finish that project? How was that thing you mentioned? These aren't random. They're bids for connection that don't expose emotion. She wants reassurance without vulnerability. She may also become unusually perceptive about your mood. She notices when something is off before you say anything. She asks gentle questions, then retreats once she's sure you're okay. This hyper-awareness comes from emotional investment. You don't monitor people you don't care about, but she won't linger because lingering feels like attachment. One of the clearest signs is her resistance to endings. She extends conversations subtly. One more question, one more thought, one more shared laugh. She doesn't want the moment to end, but she won't say that. Instead, she stretches time. That's desire without confession. Understand this clearly. When a woman is hiding deep feelings, she's not playing games. She's negotiating with herself. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of losing control, all battling against desire. The men who win in these moments don't confront, accuse, or demand clarity. They remain steady, present, unmoved. Your calm becomes the permission she needs to stop guarding herself. And when a woman no longer feels the need to guard, what she reveals is rarely small. There is a particular kind of emotional tension that appears when a woman is thinking about you more than she wants to admit. It shows up as restraint in moments where expression would be natural. She pauses before responding. She rewrites messages. She chooses neutrality when honesty would be easier. This hesitation isn't disinterest. It's fear of revealing too much. Every pause is a calculation. How much can I show without losing control? Notice how she handles physical proximity. She might lean in, then subtly pull back, stand close, then create space. Touch briefly, then stop. This push and pull is not confusion. It's internal conflict. Her body responds before her mind can censor it. Then the mind steps in and restores distance. Men often focus on the pullback and miss the initial lean. The truth lives in the first instinct, not the correction. Another subtle behavior is emotional projection. She asks questions about your dating life in a detached tone. So, are you seeing anyone? This isn't curiosity, it's self-regulation. She's trying to manage anxiety by gathering information. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't ask at all. The indifference is performative. The question itself is the tell. She may also challenge you in small, controlled ways. Light disagreements, testing your opinions, pushing back just enough to see how you handle tension. This is not about winning, it's about safety. She needs to know whether emotional closeness with you leads to conflict or stability. If you remain grounded, she relaxes. If you become reactive, she retreats. Watch how she reacts when you praise another woman or mention female attention. If she becomes quieter, slightly distant, or overly agreeable, that's emotional suppression. She's swallowing a reaction she doesn't want to acknowledge. Indifference doesn't require effort. Suppression does. There's also a pattern of delayed warmth. She might act cool in the moment, then later send a thoughtful message, or follow up days later with something meaningful. This delay allows her to process feelings privately before expressing anything. It's safer for her to be warm once the intensity has settled. Understand this. Women who hide deep feelings are often highly self-aware. They know exactly what they feel and exactly why they don't want to feel it. They are not waiting for you to convince them. They are watching to see if you are emotionally safe enough to handle what they already know is there. If you don't chase the pullback, don't punish the pause, and don't demand clarity, something shifts. Your steadiness becomes a mirror, and eventually, mirrors make it impossible to keep hiding from what's already visible. When a woman is hiding deep feelings, her behavior becomes future-aware in subtle, almost invisible ways. She doesn't talk about the future directly, but she quietly places you inside it. She references things months away without making plans. You'd like that place. That reminds me of you. These aren't fantasies, they're mental rehearsals. She's imagining a future while pretending she isn't. Men often miss this because there's no explicit invitation. But psychologically, this is one of the strongest indicators of emotional investment. You'll also notice selective vulnerability. She opens up about struggles that don't make her look weak, but she avoids the ones that would expose emotional dependence. She'll talk about work stress, family dynamics, surface-level fears. But when the topic shifts toward loneliness, attachment, or past heartbreak, she redirects. This isn't avoidance of intimacy, it's protection against attachment. She's allowing connection without surrender. Another key behavior is heightened sensitivity to your approval, even when she pretends not to care. A slight change in your tone affects her mood. A delayed response shifts her energy. She won't call it out, but her behavior changes. Emotional indifference doesn't fluctuate. Investment does. She may also downplay her importance in your life. She positions herself as just someone you talk to, or not a big deal. This is emotional camouflage. If she minimizes her role, rejection feels less threatening. But watch her actions, not her words. She shows up consistently. She listens deeply. She remembers. Minimization is a defense, not a truth. There's also an unconscious comparison happening. She subtly measures herself against women from your past or present. She asks about them casually, then goes quiet. This isn't insecurity, it's attachment assessment. She's trying to understand where she stands without asking directly. Another sign is emotional consistency over time. Even if contact is irregular, her tone remains stable. She doesn't fade emotionally. Weeks later, she's the same person with the same energy. That consistency reveals unresolved feelings. If there were no emotional charge, it would dissipate naturally. Finally, notice how she reacts when you show emotional maturity. When you're calm under pressure, respectful during tension, and self-directed, she softens. Her guard lowers incrementally. Hidden feelings need proof of safety, not persuasion. Here's the truth most men never hear. You don't make a woman reveal hidden feelings by pushing. You do it by becoming someone she doesn't feel the need to hide from. Emotional safety is rare. When she senses it, her restraint becomes unnecessary. And when restraint dissolves, what emerges is clarity you didn't have to demand. One of the quietest yet most revealing signs a woman is hiding deep feelings is how she reacts when you create emotional distance without drama. When you pull back calmly, without punishment, without explanation, something shifts inside her. She becomes more attentive, more present, sometimes unexpectedly warm. This isn't fear of loss in a manipulative sense. It's the nervous system recognizing value. Hidden feelings surface when the illusion of emotional safety is threatened, even slightly. You'll notice she starts initiating in ways that feel casual, a meme, a check-in, a random thought. These aren't meaningless. They are low-risk bridges. She wants reconnection without the vulnerability of saying she missed you. If she truly didn't care, your absence would register as relief, not curiosity. Another behavior is emotional contrast. She becomes more expressive with you than with others, but still restrained compared to her potential. Around friends or strangers, she may be animated. With you, she's quieter, deeper, more intentional. That contrast signals significance. Strong emotions often produce seriousness, not excitement. When feelings are deep, playfulness gives way to focus. She may also test your emotional boundaries subtly. She shares something slightly personal and watches closely how you respond. Not your words, your regulation. Do you stay calm? Do you listen without fixing? Do you respect the moment without escalating it? These micro-tests determine whether her feelings are safe to surface. Passing them doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. There's also a tendency toward emotional memory. She recalls moments you thought were insignificant. A look, a pause, something you said in passing. This tells you she replays interactions internally. People don't mentally revisit experiences that don't matter. Rumination is a sign of emotional weight. You may sense a quiet protectiveness as well. She defends you when you're not around. She corrects misunderstandings about you. She cares how others perceive you, even if she never claims you publicly. This is attachment without ownership. She feels connected, but hasn't allowed herself to step fully into it. Another subtle cue is emotional honesty disguised as advice. She tells you what women like her want, fear, or avoid. This isn't theory, it's projection. She's revealing herself indirectly, hoping you'll understand without forcing her to confess. Here's what matters most. When a woman hides deep feelings, she's not waiting for you to chase harder. She's watching to see if you remain emotionally whole without her validation. Stability is magnetic. When you don't collapse into need or withdraw into indifference, you create a third option, safety. And safety is the one condition under which hidden feelings no longer need to hide. One of the quietest yet most revealing signs a woman is hiding deep feelings is how she reacts when you create emotional distance without drama. When you pull back calmly, without punishment, without explanation, something shifts inside her. She becomes more attentive, more present, sometimes unexpectedly warm. This isn't fear of loss in a manipulative sense. It's the nervous system recognizing value. Hidden feelings surface when the illusion of emotional safety is threatened, even slightly. You'll notice she starts initiating in ways that feel casual. A meme, a check-in, a random thought. These aren't meaningless, they are low-risk bridges. She wants reconnection without the vulnerability of saying she missed you. If she truly didn't care, your absence would register as relief, not curiosity. Another behavior is emotional contrast. She becomes more expressive with you than with others, but still restrained compared to her potential. Around friends or strangers, she may be animated. With you, she's quieter, deeper, more intentional. That contrast signals significance. Strong emotions often produce seriousness, not excitement. When feelings are deep, playfulness gives way to focus. She may also test your emotional boundaries subtly. She shares something slightly personal and watches closely how you respond. Not your words, your regulation. Do you stay calm? Do you listen without fixing? Do you respect the moment without escalating it? These micro-tests determine whether her feelings are safe to surface. Passing them doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. There's also a tendency toward emotional memory. She recalls moments you thought were insignificant. A look, a pause, something you said in passing. This tells you she replays interactions internally. People don't mentally revisit experiences that don't matter. Rumination is a sign of emotional weight. You may sense a quiet protectiveness as well. She defends you when you're not around. She corrects misunderstandings about you. She cares how others perceive you, even if she never claims you publicly. This is attachment without ownership. She feels connected, but hasn't allowed herself to step fully into it. Another subtle cue is emotional honesty disguised as advice. She tells you what women like her want, fear, or avoid. This isn't theory, it's projection. She's revealing herself indirectly, hoping you'll understand without forcing her to confess. Here's what matters most. When a woman hides deep feelings, she's not waiting for you to chase harder. She's watching to see if you remain emotionally whole without her validation. Stability is magnetic. When you don't collapse into need or withdraw into indifference, you create a third option: safety. And safety is the one condition under which hidden feelings no longer need to hide.